Okay, so yeah, come to stand, find yourself somewhere on your mat, and let's get this done. Okay, so just starting as we do with our feet hip distance apart and our knees bent. Well, knees ever so slightly softened. Hands just on the brim of your pelvis, just rocking backwards and forwards, tilting that pelvis, just to get a bit of movement to your lower back and bringing awareness to your center. And then just stopping where your pelvis sits level. Relaxing your hands down by your side. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, I just want you to roll your chin down to your chest. Breathe in again, and then as you breathe out, you're going to step your head back up on your shoulders, but just continue by looking upwards. Going as far as you can, and then rolling the chin back down to the center and down to the chest. So keep those nice deep breaths going. Don't worry too much about how you breathe with the movements, just keep those breaths. And just work on rolling the head on the neck, getting that idea of bones stacking on top of one another. For some people, that upward looking can be a little bit uncomfortable, so just take it to where you can. But when you're rolling your chin to your chest, let the back of the head hang heavy, using the weight of the head just to stretch out the upper neck, where we tend to hold quite a lot of tension. Okay, we're going to bring the head back and place it nice and on top of the shoulders. We're going to roll the shoulders up, round and down and set them into the back pockets. We're going to set the center by gently drawing the lower tummy to the spine, and we're going to float those arms up, hold them above the head. Sorry, I've lost my arms here. But then we're going to roll that head down again. So drop the chin to the chest and then looking up again. Just focus on keeping that hand shoulder placement with those shoulder blades just anchoring themselves down into your back pockets. Imagine you've got magnets attached to the backs of your shoulder blades, drawing your shoulder blades down toward your buttock. Good, keep it going. And again, just rolling, opening out through the neck. Lovely, okay, and then bring your head so that it's resting lightly on top of your shoulders. Breathe in, and as we breathe out, you're just going to reach one hand up towards the ceiling and shift your weight across to that side. So we're really creating a stretch through the side of the body. Good, come back to the center and reach the other hand up. So it's as if you've got pieces of string attached to your fingers, and the puppet master is just pulling up on one arm and then up on the other arm. And you're just slowly flexing from side to side, allowing your weight to transfer to the leg that is the same side of the arm that's reaching upwards, so you can open the sides of your body. Keep that breathing deep. Maybe if you can, coordinating a breath out as you get to the top of that reach. Just see if you can go a little bit further. Lovely. One more each side. Okay, these arms should be getting tired. If you can keep them up, great. If not, give them a shake out and reset, because we're going to take it into a twist now. So just check back in on those shoulders. Breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to rotate the spine, looking over to one side, then come back to the center and rotate over to the opposite side. Now just move as much as you can, but keep your feet planted on the floor, but just allow your body to twist and turn. And every time you come back to the center, just check in on those shoulders. As these arms start to get heavier, upper shoulder muscles are going to try and want to help out. And if you need to at any time, just shake those arms out and then join back in. Lovely. Okay, come back to the center. We're going to isolate this movement now from the rib cage and pelvis up. So your pelvis is going to stay facing forwards, but the rib cage is going to twist on top of it. So try and keep your belly button pointing towards me, and then let your breastbone twist in the direction of your movement, and follow that movement with your gaze. Notice how different that feels. It should feel tighter, but it should feel more of a twist in your upper back now. Good. One more on each side. Your arms get a rest, but not for long. Good. Okay. And then come back to the center and bring those arms back down and shake them out. Okay. As those arms are just having a little bit of a rest, let's work into the legs. But we're not quite done with those arms yet. So we're going to just start to work into some little knee bends. So feet hip distance apart. You've got a chair behind you and you're just perching to sit down on that chair. But before you do, you stand back up again, making sure that your knees are pointing forwards and not caving in as you sit down, and keeping your weight into the back of your feet. So when you come down into that squat, you can give your toes a little bit of a wiggle because your weight is going back behind you rather than in front of you. So you should feel it a little bit more in your bottom than in your knees. Let me come and see those. Big push through the floor to come back to stand. I think we know what we're doing with these squats now. Well done, everyone. Looking good. Okay, we're going to add those overhead arms in again. So as we come down into the squat, the hands come up and over. Now with the direction of those hips going out behind us, the arms are going to come up and in front of us. So we create a diagonal line through the shoulders to the hips. And the extension of that line is through the fingers. So we're not here, we're not here, we're somewhere in between. Now keep these nice and moving. Let's build up our cardiovascular fitness, get those hearts racing a little bit more. 3 more. 2 more. Hold this next one, hands up and overhead. Hold from here. Keep the arms where they are, hips where they are. You can hold, or you can join me, lift and lower with those heels. Heels off the floor and down, up and down. You can just hold the squat. If the heel lift is too much, watch those shoulders. Let me see your ears, that's better. Keep it going, we're here for 10. This should be hard. 9. Remember, you can hold. 8, stay up if you can. 7. 6. Woo. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1, lovely. Slowly release the arms and bring yourself back up to stand. Okay, let's just bring that heart rate back down again and do a nice stretch for the calves. I'm going to turn side on just so you can see what we're doing, but you stay where you are. You're going to take a big step forwards with one foot. Your feet are still hip distance apart, and make sure your heels and toes are sort of pointing in the same direction. So when we tend to do this, what happens is that back foot turns in. Try and keep that heel in line with the toe, push into that back foot and bend into your front knee. So you should feel that stretching down the back of that calf. From here, clasp your hands behind you, interlace your fingers and push your hands away, separating the fronts of the shoulders and clenching the shoulder blades together. Breathe deeply. Now's the time just to bring that breath back down again. Catch back up with that lovely deep inhale, exhale. Really push that back heel down into the mat. Then release those fingers and interlace the hands out in front. Push the hands away from you and then just nuzzle your chin towards your chest. This time we're tightening the front of the shoulders and separating the shoulder blades. Good, keep pressing that back heel down. The more you press, the less you need to bend the front of that knee. Good, okay, keep the arms where they are. Step the back foot forwards and replace with the opposite leg. So again, your feet are still hip distance apart, but heels and toes are in line. Push the back heel down and slowly bend into that right leg. And then again, sorry, that front leg, and then just drop your chin to your chest. Really push away from the back of the shoulder blades. That's it, nice deep breaths, well done. Looking good, everyone. Let's swap the arms, keep the feet where they are, bring your hands behind you, clasp the hands together behind you, push your hands away, squeeze your shoulder blades down together, those magnets drawing your shoulders down to the floor. Keep pressing into your back heel. Lovely, and then slowly release the arms and slowly step those feet forwards. And if you need to, just step into those legs to shake off the calves. Okay, we're going to come straight down onto the mat, so no roll downs this evening. So just bending your knees, bringing yourself down onto your mat in a box position. I'll give you a minute if you need to adjust your cameras. But because we've lost our roll downs, we're going to work into a bit of spinal movements on the mat. So really nice way of opening up the back. We're going to do our cat-cow stretch. So we tuck the tailbone underneath, draw the tummy to the spine, and drop the chin to the chest. And try and get that same feeling through the shoulder blades as we did when we were doing that standing stretch by pushing our hands away from our bodies. So a nice round spine. And then we go to the opposite direction. The tummy drops down towards the mat. The belly button, the tail lifts and we look forwards or up and squeeze your shoulder blades together as if you were pushing your hands away again. Good. Back to your cat stretch. So tightening and rounding everything up. And then back to your cow. And just move between those two positions a few more times. So really try and roll through your spine. Imagine your spine is really fluid. You get those spinal bones just articulating one at a time. Good. A couple more times in and out because this feels nice. And what this is going to help us do is find that midpoint position. So find yourself somewhere in between those two extremes of movement. You've got a tray of drinks resting on the small of your back. You're going to hold that tray of drinks where it is. You're going to slide your right knee towards your hands, maybe even bring your knee off the mat towards your chest. And then you're going to stretch that leg out behind you, maybe even lifting it up in a nice long stretch. Same leg again. So the leg slides towards you. Then maybe it comes up and away from the mat, tightening up towards your chest. And then we stretch that leg out behind us and then maybe lift it up as well. Keep it going on that same side for 6 repetitions and then swap over onto the opposite leg. Really super slow. I want you to feel that abdominal crunch as your knee contracts up towards your chest. And try not to twist, otherwise you'll spill your tray of drinks. Looks good. Well done. Watch those heads aren't hanging down heavy. Keep the back of your neck lifted. Very nice. So swapping after you've done 6 and do 6 on the opposite side. Really push through your hands. Be active through your shoulders. And imagine that there's a little candle hollowing underneath your breastbone, and just lift your breastbone away from the heat of that candle so that your shoulder blades just wrap around your rib cage. Good, keep it going. Breathing in as that knee comes up towards your chest and exhaling as you extend out behind. Good, don't forget that tray of drinks. Super, okay. I think you're probably coming up to your last one if you're not already there. So just give you a moment to do one more if you need to. And then just sit back towards your heels and give your hands a little bit of a rest there. Good work. So we're going to try that again. I think you see how when we slow that movement down, you really have to work on that strength and control. So we're going to do it again with 6 on each leg, but I'm going to give you an option if you want to try it with a little bit more load. So we combine this with our leg pull prep. Now the leg pull prep is where we just lift the knees off the mat without lifting the bottom in the air. So the knees stay bent, and then it's the same idea. We hug the knee towards the chest, and then we stretch out behind. big step up here because I'm really having to use my core strength to hold my leg off the mat as the other leg is moving, sliding in and stretching away. Once you've done 6, you can reset and then lift again. Okay, if you try that and you think that's just not for me, not comfortable challenge at all, then come back to this first option, knee to chest and stretch away. 6 on each leg and then have a rest. That second option is a little bit of a killer, so don't worry too much if you're finding it a challenge. Maybe give it a go for 1 and then lower down and then go back to that original option. I'm struggling to talk after doing that. Wow, this is looking amazing. Well done, everyone. Both options are being done with lovely control and precision, and that's the main thing. Don't go for the higher option if you lose that control. Do the first option, but make it look really nice and stable and effortless. That's it. You shake out when you're done. You have a little rest. Congratulate yourself. Good, okay, I'll give you just a moment more just to finish off your second side if you're not already there. Okay, lovely, I hope you enjoyed that, that was very hard. Let's give the core a little bit of a rest now. We're going to do press-ups again this evening, but we're going to work on our triceps. So they're the long muscles at the back of the upper arm. So to do that, everything's the same, but we just change the position of the hands. So rather than having the hands wide out at sort of shoulder distance apart, we bring the hands together. And as we do that, the elbow position changes. So rather than aiming the elbows sort of in a 45-degree angle, we try and tuck the elbows in so that the elbows are snugging in towards your rib cage as you come down into your press up. Your head, shoulder and tailbone positions all the same, so we're really tucking underneath with the tailbone, and depending on how much you put your weight over your wrists or away from your wrists is where you can have a play around with your options. So I'll show you what they look like. You're here to begin with. Bring your hands a little bit closer together, almost rotate your elbows in, so you're trying to pin your elbows together, and then you draw those elbows close together as you lower down towards the mat and push away. I promise you these are going to feel harder than the chest press. You've got to isolate those triceps a little bit more. So you can be here in a shallow press, or you can come over those wrists and come all the way down. Okay, give it a go. We're going to go for 8 of these. I know some of you have already started. So once you've done your 8, you can have a rest. Remember, big push into the floor to get your weight out of the floor. Well done, beautiful. Looking good. You should feel this in the upper arm. Anybody who thinks they've got bingo wings, this is your go-to exercise. Very nice, well done. Yeah, just sit back and have a rest when you're done. Good work. Okay, watch those heads aren't hanging as you're getting tired. I think we're almost all there. I think we're all resting up. Good work, okay. Just give those arms a bit of a stretch across your body. Push them across towards the back of the room. Very nice, okay. Let's come down onto our fronts now, practice some of our plank work that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I think I lost you not long after that. So we're going to set up resting on our forearms. Again, elbows beneath the shoulders, heads are lifted away from the mat, shoulders down and away into your back pockets, tuck your toes underneath, tuck your tailbone underneath. Keeping your knees on the floor now, start to lift the back of the pelvis off the mat. So you're just creating a bit of a space underneath the body. Tighten the tummy towards the spine and really try and send your rib cage down towards the floor. So you can lift and lower, or you can lift and hold. But I want you to really feel engaged through your tummy with this one. So you don't need to come too high off the mat, but I want you to really focus on tucking your tailbone underneath and drawing your rib cage down towards your waist. So you're really tightening those spring coils together. Ribs come down, and as you tuck your tailbone underneath, the pelvis comes up. So this happens, you get that contraction of your tummy, and you will feel it tomorrow, I promise. Okay, make sure you're breathing and keep going. Now, if you want to, you can try and straighten your knees just by tensing your thighs and lift those knees off of the mat. Or if that feels like too much, just down those knees. Well done, everyone who gave that a go. Good, breathing. Looking strong, everyone, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to give you a countdown. You can hold it, you can come out of it, or you can just rest. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, watch those heads, 3, 2, and 1. We slowly lower down, and then just take that into our baby cobra. So keeping your pelvis pressed into the mat, just lift away from the mat with the front of your body, just to pull through those tummy muscles and breathe for a moment. Great plank work there, everyone. Okay, we've just got a little bit of side sequence work to do now. So from where you are on the mat, you're just going to roll onto your side. Okay, so you can either prop your head or you can lay flat. Now your two options here, depending on what your bottom leg is doing. So for a little bit more stability, you're just going to bend that bottom leg. For a bit more of a challenge, you're going to straighten that bottom leg, okay? And if you've got those legs straight, you're just imagining you're lying against a wall and the whole of your body is stacked against the wall. So try and be as straight with your body. I'm finding just being on that bottom hip, I'm having to work quite hard not to rock forwards and backwards. And now I'm going to visualize that lovely cold glass of Prosecco or whatever you fancy resting on my top hip. So I've got to control that movement. You can have your hand in front of you just for a little bit of support, but make sure you're not bracing into the mat. So really light support. We're going to work on these top hips now. So float that top leg up to hip height, pointing your toe. We're going to do circular motions. So you're going to do 6 circles in a clockwise motion, or anti-clockwise, it doesn't matter, because when we get to 6, we're going to swap. Super slow with those circles, making a nice focus on the control and movement of your pelvis. So are you rolling forwards and backwards as your leg is circling? If you are, bend your bottom leg a little bit more. It increases your base of support, so that stability element lessens. Once you get to 6 circles, you're going to change direction. And we're just going to keep going in rounds of 6. So if you need to at any point, you can just drop that top leg down, give it a rub, give it a pat, and then join back in again. So either with the bottom leg bent or the bottom leg straight. That's where you get a bit more of a challenge. So keep it going, circle those legs. Nice long legs, gets these lateral hip muscles working, really key for any hip issues or lateral knee issues, important for running, walking, climbing the stairs, etc., etc. Good work. Now it should start to feel like the temperature in those glutes is warming up a little bit. Should feel like that leg just gets heavier and harder to control. So I'm going to join you in for one more round on each side. So if you can keep them going, do so, but don't forget you can take those little rests in between. And if you can, just pause and check and see if you've got a little space underneath your waist for your fingertips just to gently pass under, just so that we know that our pelvis is stacked. Keep that breathing going, everyone, and don't worry, we're almost there. I'm aware you've done far more than I have, and I'm already feeling it. Coming into 3, 2, and 1. Super. Let's all just have a pause. Drape that top leg over the bottom, and you might even need to give it a little bit of a pat. Okay, we're going to push up into side sitting. So you've got your weights now resting through your hands. We're going to do one of these. We did them last week, but we did them on the forearm. Today, we're going to do them on the hand. So I want you to try and lift your body away from the floor and drive your shoulder down towards the mat. You're going to take your top hand over into Mermaid Stretch and hold this position. Once you're happy with that position, you might also feel like you can lift your hips off the mat, so you're coming into a side bend or a side plank. But as you do that, really work hard to push into the heel of your hand and slide your shoulder down into the mat. Keep it going. Watch those top palms aren't here. We're going to lift them away from the floor and create that nice diagonal line along the side of the body. Keep holding. Remember, you can lower the hips and just be strong through the arms. 3, 2, and 1. Great work there. Roll through that bottom shoulder. Okay, straight over to the opposite side. So we're just going to swing those legs across. Set back up for that side bend. So knees and hips stacked on top of one another. Push away from the floor. Just notice that difference between here and here. And it's all of those scapular shoulder blade muscles that we work on with our posture. Set that top arm and you can choose to stay here or you can choose to lift and hold. Let me come and see you. Looking good. Very nice. Breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Slowly down and give that shoulder a nice roll. Okay, that takes straight down onto the mat. Last exercise, guys. Okay, so lying on your side. Remember what we're doing. We've either got the bottom leg bent or straight. Let's check in on those hips before we start. So push your top hip down toward your feet. What you're trying to do is lengthen your pelvis so that your hip bones are stacked on top of one another. Then when you're ready, float that leg and start with those circles. Don't forget you've got that drink resting on your top hip, so keep it nice and steady. 6 circles, and then we swap and go the opposite way. You might even want to add a little bit of pelvic floor work here if that's something you need to work on. Just gently tightening your pelvic floor and holding it for the endurance of those circles, then releasing whilst you change your direction. Okay, keep it going. Second time, we're doing it, and we're gonna feel those outer hips. Lovely. Tim, so just bring your leg back a little bit so your foot's in line with your hip. Or you're lying, oh no, sorry, you're lying at an angle. That's fine, you're fine. Lovely. Keep those circles nice and small. You've got a pencil on the end of your toe and you want to draw a beautifully perfect circle with that pencil. And then change that direction. Brilliant. Okay, got a couple more minutes left. So I'm going to join you for one more round on each side. This is it for this evening. So last little bit of energy. Put it into those glutes. You'll thank me for it later, or maybe not. Good. Final little push. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Down and just roll onto your backs and hug your knees towards your chest. I just gently take that into a little side rock, pulling your knees across from side to side, and that will just create a little bit of a stretch through the sides of the pelvis into those glutes. If you want to, you can take the legs all the way across the body and drop them down to the side and have a nice big twist just to pull on one side of the pelvis, and then take it over to the opposite side and stretch out. Now you can stay here, guys, a little while longer, just enjoying that sense of stretch. Enjoying that hug towards the chest. You might feel like you need it. Otherwise, come and join me just to say goodbye.